ended in a deadlock as well. So there's speculations that an indefinite strike is looming as the federal government hasn't been able to reach any substantial agreement with the NLC, even though it has less than 4 days away. Friday is the deadline, and if there's no agreement, just as the NLC president Joe Ajero has stated, he hopes that something happens between now and then. If not, they just might go on that strike. What are your thoughts? I'd love to get them. But before then, let's hear the Minister of Labor and Employment, Simon Lalong, as well as, he's the Labor president, the president of the NLC, speaking. Now, one thing has come out clear is that the NLC, or the labor movement in Nigeria, may not be as organized as they say. The organized labor comprises of NLC and the TUC, but the TUC was absent at this meeting with the NLC. Recall that last week there was a meeting with the TUC where the NLC was absent. Tomorrow, the NLC, the federal government, that's the Ministry of Labor and Employment, will be holding another meeting with the TUC. There's a big chance that the NLC would not be there. Let's hear from the horse's mouth.
Intending the preparation for the strike, and then some of the issues that the labor had given to the federal government. I must say that our meeting was very robust, and we had a very, very fruitful meeting. But at the end of the day, many of those items that we left are still for consideration, and before the final agreement, or what I would call discussions. But like I said, it was a very fruitful meeting, and I thank the NLC for coming to this meeting and for also the very useful contributions. I think I will stop at that.
Like the Honorable Minister said, we had a fruitful deliberation, and we have agreed to continue to make sure we arrive at a meaningful agreement within the remaining days of the ultimatum. We equally discussed, frankly, the issue bordering the coup plotted and executed by the Nigerian police against the National Union of Road Transport Workers, which has led to the detention of their democratically elected national officers. And both parties agree to show concern towards the resolution of the matter, because it is one sore area that the trade union movement in Nigeria is not ready to compromise, whether queue in the trade union movement or in the policy. So it must be condemned, whether it's in Niger, whether it's in Congo, whether it's in Mali, or whether it's in the trade union movement in Nigeria. And to that point, I wish to end on this note to say we have a convivial deliberation with the ministry, and we hope that even if it is remaining one day, we'll get to the root of all this problem. Thank you very much.
Now, outside of the meeting room, the conference room where the meeting was held, the NLC president had more to say. And this is what he said. Listen.
In the NEC resolution, the issue of NURTW was clearly stated there. And it was at a time that the situation had not degenerated the way it degenerated today. And we forewarned. And then that was why we equally had to bring it along with others. On the other issues, you can see that there's no agreement on any or no implementation. There is no CNG anywhere. The refineries are not working. Wage award, transfer, there are also issues. So those are issues we believe that between now and the next few days when the ultimatum will expire, that something will happen. So, and it's possible that something could happen. So that is where we are.
So what is the next meeting? This meeting continue? And when?
Whenever we are invited, we'll be there.
In the absence of compliance with your demand and the deadline expires,
that's where we are. The ultimatum is that if this thing doesn't happen on the so-so date, ABCD will happen. That's where we are.
Okay, we agree that this meeting was fruitful, but can you conclusively say it was a deadlock?
That it was not deadlock because there is discussion. And discussion is it has an open-ended one. That we can meet again this night. We can meet tomorrow morning. But both parties will work towards the realization of these objectives before the last minute of the ultimatum.
Was there any technical committee set up? If you say you are working,
there can be a technical committee. When a larger committee has set up technical committees, the ministry has performed its role to mediate and conciliate in the problem between us and the federal government. So that was why they called for this meeting. But as a committee, kind of inter-ministerial committee at the presidency level, who are supposed to address this issue, the Ministry of Labour can't give you wage award. They can address the issue of CNG. They can't address the issue of refineries and all those ones. So they have mediated. They have mediated to make sure that there's no problem, or that they will get both parties to resolve these issues.
What will government do for you to suspend the action on Thursday?
What will government will do?
What one thing should they do for you?
It can be government will definitely address our demands.
Has this meeting restored your trust in the government and in the ability to?
We are not talking of trust now. We are ready to engage, which is part of our responsibilities. Either in the night or in the day, we'll continue to engage. But not engage at gunpoint. When we were invited for a meeting on a Monday, when our warning strike was to start on Tuesday, and it was a directive given by NEC, I didn't have the competence to reverse it.
But in the situation we have, for instance, the federal government in the short term decides to take care of your request as far as the NURTW issue is concerned, will it make you rethink the actual?
That's neither here nor there. That one is as it affects the independence of a union, the violation of trade union rights, which is condemned all over the world. That one has nothing to do with subsidy removal, and it's the consequences arising therefrom. So that one was on even before this one. So we had to address the two. Because those people should be part of us in this meeting. They should be part of us even if we are taking action, and you take them away. So it's like elimination by substitution.
Okay, Presi, finally, it appears there's a divided organized labor, because usually in the past you have TUC and NLC. Why are they not here? And were you invited together? Is there a divided organized labor?
Well, let me answer you honestly. The NLC has been the foremost labor center in this country, foremost, before the birth of TUC. And without prejudice, TUC has its own independence. They operate. However, you have been going to ILO. In every ILO is the NLC or any international organization that is invited. And any other trade union, there may be 4, 10 tomorrow, will line behind NLC. That is the position of NLC. Do you still doubt it?
Thank you very much.
And that's the president of the NLC, Joe Ajero, there making submissions on several questions asked by journalists who were represented there. And well, this is a big issue. I mean, we have 3 or 4 days to the deadline given by the NLC to go and strike. But the NLC seems like a little divided against itself. What do they say about a divided house? Can it stand? Will the NLC go through with the indefinite strike, or would it be one of those situations where the people have described, where people that has led to people describing the NLC as a toothless bulldog? If the Trade Union Congress and the National Union of Road Transport Workers, which are affiliate bodies, that really drives home, whatever activism or actions that the NLC is taking, are not on the same page with the NLC, would it be able to achieve its aim? And looking at the demands by the NLC, the CNG conversion stations and fueling stations, refineries working, the 200% wage award, all of those things, and even the National Union of Road Transport Workers, which has been somewhat taken over by another group, maybe deliberately, because they say it seems like the federal government is playing a divide and rule or divide and conquer policy, policy with them, having to see a situation where all of a sudden the NEC, the NURTW National Secretariat is taken over by another group, and they're saying this is creating a crack in the organized labor. If we have three different unions, the last time there was the NLC had its warning strike, you saw that activities went on. Aside from the the power issues, most Nigerians didn't even know that NLC was on strike. And switching of power has been described as economic sabotage or national sabotage that can be considered treasonable. What will the NLC? How will the NLC be able to drive its strike and its demands if some of these bodies do not joining? If the NURTW does not joining, transport workers would be working on the day that NLC would be on strike, and so many Nigerians work. If the NLC goes on its indefinite strike, so would it be able to shut down the economy as they have threatened? Apparently, we'll see what plays out in the coming days, but we hope that does not happen. Again, another question would be, who bears the brunt if the NLC goes on strike or totally shuts down the economy? Would it be government, or would it be the ordinary Nigerians who they claim to be fighting for? That's another aspect of the conversation or argument. Some people brought that argument to the table. They say, look, the NLC is not, would only exacerbate the troubles and the pains of the ordinary Nigerians if they shut down the economy. But the federal government to listen to them. That's those who are civil servants. But then ordinary business people who would be affected, Nigerians who are not civil servants, who may not necessarily benefit in all of this, especially with the wage awards and the likes. This do not affect the ordinary Nigerians who are not civil servants. We'll be talking. Get your thoughts in 090-7353-0044 and 090-8766-8888. That is 090-7353-0044 and 090-8766-8888. Don't forget that strikes are not peculiar to Nigeria. We've seen strikes, labor unions go on strike in the U.S., in France, and currently the U.S. automobile workers are going on strike. The screenplay writers and the likes are going on strike as well. For some reasons, it just seems like it's a global thing. Hello, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. What's your name?
Good morning, Prince. Clement.
Clement, I am Prince. Good to have you.
Right from the very beginning, I told you I'm one of the vote supporters of this strike. Not because one wants a paralysis of the socio-economic system, but because of the enormous challenges that society governments have imposed on the overburdened the masses of this country. The strike is imperative. The immediate removal of subsidy and its aftermath. Right from the very beginning, the government doesn't seem to show any courage and wherewithal to actually redress the aftermath. You just see the kind of boom with the burdens that you put on Nigerians. And there's no, like you saw that even the American government believes that Nigerian government has no solution to the economic problems of this country. Now, you talk of palliatives. I do hear people saying that NLC is saying the part of Labour Party. This has nothing to do with partisanship. It has to do with Nigerians. You just remove the subsidy and all the problems that are arising afterwards. Then the people are losing their jobs. The masses have no roads to travel. The parents can no longer pay school fees. Taxation everywhere, power tariff is rising. Then you are at the same time increasing the salaries and allowances of political office holders, senators, ministers, governors are earning fabulous. You see the amount of money they even say they allocate to states and local governments now, because there's money to share. And you see them increasing the number of political appointees. So you want the masses to keep on getting sacrifice. Many are dying. Some are jumping into lagoons because of problems that are associated with our economic system. Then if anybody thinks NLC is partisan, that person is not facing the realities on ground for Nigeria. They should go on the strike. I expect us. The government is not and they are playing their normal divide and rule. Going to court to threaten no work, no pay. They're removing NURCW from NL. What do you expect from agro unions that are controlled by Ruomo? What do you expect? They will certainly take the line of their godfather. But that has nothing to do with the problem of this country. The strike is imminent now, Nacho. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Clement Iron Prince, submitting your thoughts there, saying he supports the strike. What are your thoughts? Do you support the strike? Do you not? Let's hear from you. 09073530044 and 09087668888. NLC threatening to ground the economy at the expiration of its 21-day ultimatum issued from the 1st of September 2023. That ultimatum would expire by Friday. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Abdullahi.
We don't know where we are heading to. Both the government and the NLC are not sincere. Let me tell you the truth, sir. They are not fighting for the interest of the masses of Nigerians, but rather for themselves. The government is playing politics with the NLC. And at the end, they will just settle them. That's all. Nothing will happen in this country. We have been seeing such examples in the history of Nigeria. So they are calling on a nationwide strike. They will just go. But once they were called by the government, they will just go and have a kind of discussion on the table, and they will settle them. That's all will happen in this country. Because the leaders there are not patriotic. Most of them, they are also part of the elite who have, destroyed the life of Nigeria. But there are some genius civil servants who are very patriotic, who want this country to be good, but they don't have power. They are powerless. But those who are appointed to lead the organizations are not patriotic at all. So that's the problem we are having at the moment. And then we are in serious mess concerning the economy of this country. The government is not ready to fix it's not sincere. They are not properly managing our economy. They are not even heading to the right direction in this country. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much for calling in, Abdullahi Mekano. I'm going to bring in another caller, and then we get talking some more. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Prince.
Thank you so much for joining us, Moses.
God bless you. Yeah, the NLC have lost its integrity.
How so?
They have lost their integrity. What is that integrity? Look at the fact. When there is an increase of EMS that affected the masses, especially the workers, the NLC will go negotiate with government. Two things are involved, and those two things will be an achievement. What will the government have to address the suffering of the people? Salary negotiation. They were set on a certain minimum wage. But do you know what happened? When this administration, the former Buhari came in, there was an instant increase. The NLC now, all the whole nation, we are going on strike. Do you know that when they went on strike, there was no any achievement? the strike couldn't hold water. Before you know it, under the pain, the same administration again increased PMS. And you know that anything that tempered with PMS, it will affect the economy. The NLC couldn't have nothing to say. The statement I had then was that the Nigerians are in support of the government because the government said they should give them that, they should deal with them. That is the only way that our economy can be stable. That is where NLC lost its own integrity. Now they have told all Nigerians that we should go and strike them, and that thing didn't work out. When you are coming again, you talk about strike. So my advice to them is that how can they bring the integrity of NLC? Because I know that governments are always threatened when NLC says they are going on strike. We are talking about reducing the high cost of PMS. Before you know it again, they increase in this present government. So what are you saying? Are you really fighting for the workers? And there is this what we call workers' union due, that they call for each workers to augment these people in this high position. Labor, they have workers due, labor's due, that they cut is a tax. These monies are being cut for you to fight them when they are going through suffering. Now people cannot go to work. Some people, they have abandoned their job because the transport to where they are going cannot bring food to their table. They need to leave the world. Currently, as I'm speaking to you, Yanacho, some of our children now again can no more go to school because of the transport. So the NLC should not take this in as a chameleon movement. I call this chameleon meeting. Where somebody is dying, you need to carry out emergency act. You are doing meetings upon meetings upon meetings, and you are drawing the meeting. So the entire people are looking at NLC. The only hope of the common man, especially the ordinary workers. And if they begin to toil like this, people will lose hope on them. So my advice to them is that let them come back with that integrity of NLC. They shouldn't have meetings with government without any achievements. Just as the last caller, somebody kind of just said. They lose hope. We lose hope on our government because of the governance we see on the ground. So the NLC should go back to the integrity of NLC we know them with. Because they can't come out from a meeting, they say they dreadlock, they didn't end it well. They know what kind of end it is. For how many times will we have meeting with the government? So people are tired. People are tired.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Moses. And the conversation continues. Let's talk a little more about, unions. Okay, so for instance, the UAW, which is the union of automobile workers in the U.S., have gone on strike because they're looking for wage increments and all of that, and they're looking for I think a 350% wage increment. All right, and what is significant about their strike is that as a union they have a pool of funds, right, which from which they would pay themselves if, for instance, the government decides a no work, no pay, right, policy, just like we have in Nigeria, which is one of the reasons, or some of the reasons, the NLC is forced to go back to work, or unions are forced to go back to work, because a lot of them cannot have their workers stay up without being paid. Let's bring in this caller. Hello, good morning. Good morning.
Thank you so much. Well, this is Alami. I'm calling from Barimpa. Yes. The question I'm still asking is, whose interest is Joe Ajero-led labor leadership fighting for? The civil servant, I'm a civil servant myself. With the population of the civil servants in Nigeria, it's less than 5% of Nigerian population. Now, the people that the strike will affect the most are the people in the informal sector. And the informal sector contributes over 70% to our GDP. The traders, the kunu seller, like I said earlier, the barbers, the farm, these are the people that contribute. The civil servants we are insignificant. Do not forget, before the 2 days warning strike, the federal government called a meeting. Joe Ajero refused to attend the meeting and he went on strike. in the various government ministries, agencies, and parastatals, there's some packages, special packages for civil servants. Some state governors have increased their worker salary. They made available free buses to transport their civil servants. In Abia State, the state governor didn't pay 3 months. The workers were protesting. They stuck over 3,000. Joe Ajaro did not say anything to that. So is Joe Ajaro, my question to Joe Ajaro is he expecting the federal government to completely empty the Nigerian treasury and hand it over to the civil servants? The government has implemented over 50% of the palliative, 2 billion to each state, partial load of rice, giving grain, encouraging businesses. What exactly is Joe Ajaro expecting? That is my question. This type will not affect me as a civil servant. If they like, let us sit in the house for 10 years. My salary will be coming in every 30 days. But it is these people, the daily earners, if you want to come back your hair, the time that when they implemented the 2 days warning strike, a lot of businesses suffered. You couldn't use electricity for your business. And then Joe Ajaro is still turning a deaf ear, threatening thunder and brimstone. And I tell you, the people supporting it, either they are unemployed or they are the political jobbers in the opposition, that they no longer get those inflated contracts and they are hiding under it to push for an agenda. I tell you, a strike will not do anything to the political elite.
All right.
It is the ordinary
All right, Alamin.
Nigerians that
Thank you.
suffer it.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you calling in. The conversation continues. Keep it here on Eagles Outlook, your radio experience. You can count on Eagles 102.3.
102.3 Abuja.
The first entrepreneurial university in Nigeria, Joseph Ayo Babalola University, Ikeji-Arakeji, Osun State, announces admission into its colleges of agriculture and natural sciences, environmental sciences, health sciences, humanities and social sciences, law, management sciences, as well as postgraduate studies. JABU also offers admission into courses like MBA, medical laboratory sciences, and nursing. The university also offers direct entry admission through the Joint University Preliminary Examinations Board, JUPEB. Take advantage of our Center for Distance Learning and Conversion programs for the working class. Admission forms are available at the university campus and other venues in Lagos, Ibadan, Abuja, Port Harcourt, Warri, and Enugu. For inquiries, call
080-511-68991 or 070-6781-6241.
You can also visit our website at www.jabu.edu.ng. Jabu, for knowledge and godly service.
Babe, don't worry. Order, okay.
Babe, the way you've been picking up the bills these days, taxi fares, at the boutique, landlords annoying water bill, and now lunch? Babe, share the code now.
If I tell you, you not go believe me. Okay, I did play Yanga Lotto.
Which one can't be Yanga again? And I saw Lotto come easy now.
I told you, you won't believe me. See, with Yanga Lotto, you only get to pick from 0 to 9, meaning you have 500 times more chances of winning.
That's cash out on a coded level.
Shh, no louder now.
That's right. With Yanga Lotto, you can play from the privacy of your smartphone. Plus, you put in lower stake and get bigger wins. Hurry, download the Yanga Lotto app now and start winning. Yanga Lotto, it's your turn to do Yanga.
Please listen to this announcement. A prestigious spa and salon needs the following: a therapist, a nail technician, and a hair stylist. Interested applicants should send their CV via WhatsApp to 081 579 17278. That is 081 579 17278. Thank you.
Eagles 102.3 Abuja.
You're still on to Eagles Outlook on your radio experience. You can count on. We've been talking about the NLC strike or the NLC meeting with the federal government, which may just accumulate into an indefinite strike as threatened by the Nigeria Labour Congress. We heard the NLC president, Joe Ajero, speaking there and saying, look, if by this so and so date, by Friday, which would mark the end of the deadline or the deadline for the ultimatum issued by the NLC, if this and this doesn't happen, that and that will happen, which would mean that if the federal government does not meet their demands, they most likely would go on that indefinite strike. Will they be able to achieve their goal? That's one thing. Who bears the brunt if they go on the strike? That's another thing. Would it actually accumulate out into would it mean well for the Nigerian economy at the end of the day? Is another question that begs answer. Join the conversation and let's get talking. Some more 09073530044 and 09087668888. Don't forget you can send me an SMS or WhatsApp message on 09097054450. And I'm hoping that you're watching live on YouTube and on Facebook at Eagles FM Abuja. Hello, good morning.
My friends, good morning.
Good morning, Paul. How are you today?
We thank God. I think today I will change your name to Comrade Prince.
Comrade Paul, how are you? When the NLC went on strike, did your sector go on strike as well?
Yeah, the last one they pull out. Pull out on the last one where they never cut light.
Okay, so aviation workers were on strike at the last warning strike, the 2 days warning strike. Hello, Paul. Seems like we lost connection with Paul there. Paul, you want to come back and let's talk some more. When Nigerians talk about strike, every time we hear about strike, we hear, strike this, strike that. Many people do not believe that these strikes can ever achieve anything because the same government literally arm twist the unions to get back to work. Would this be the same situation? Would the federal government be taking the NLC and the unions to court? Would they threaten them to get back to work with the no work, no pay policy? How will they get back to work? I mean, what would we see? Or would they just come to the table and sort out the needs or the demands of the NLC? Hello, good morning.
Good morning, how are you?
I'm very well. Thank you so much for joining us.
My name is Comrade Salisu.
Comrade Salisu. Seem like one of the unionists. Thank you. Thank you for joining in. Let's hear you.
Thank you. In our union is not there. Even the government, to fight the government is not easy. So the union is not there, the country is not there. Because it's the only union can fight for rights of people.
Which of the unions do you belong to? NLC.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Now, what I'm saying now, that last strike will go. You see that even the bank is behind us. And again, you see all the construction workers behind us. Even again, the airport, all the airports are behind us. Many people are behind us. So it's not that labor is not working. It's that the government, when we leave Nigeria government to do what they like, we will never achieve anything. We are fighting for the right of workers in Nigeria.
Comrade Sanders, let me ask you. So when it comes to civil servants, who you heard the likes of Alamin, who says, I'm a civil servant, I'm a worker, but I don't believe in the NLC. Let's talk about the trust deficits. The people lacking trust in the NLC, because you hear people say, the NLC, they want to collect something from government. If government settles them, they'll go back to work. What do you make of the loss of trust and belief in the labor union?
Maybe they have no trust in union before, or this union now, we have a trust. We have a trust in us. We are not taking bribe with anybody. This is the situation is happening in the country now. Inflation suffering all everywhere, every corner, people are suffering. You know what? The government is the one who wants to listen. And when you leave them like that, things will get out of hand. We need to fight them to bring things down, to make the whole Nigeria to happy with the country. Now, when you see what is going on, the salary is not okay. No salary, no good salary, no even no transport, nothing. Things is get out of. And they are paid by palliative. We give them the palliative direction, they don't follow us. They are doing their own as they like. So we leave them to Nigeria to continue. When we leave them, we're going to be worse more than this. We need to bring things down. As we want them to follow, when they don't follow instructions, we close everywhere. And there is going to be everywhere, both banks, everything will be closed, still down. And then where they'll get you will see what's going to happen.
But what do you think about the many Nigerians who are going to be affected by this strike, who may not be union members, who may not be civil servants, who are just going to be, who are going to have their businesses affected?
You talk about Alani. Alani is the worker of the government, and the salary they're paying is he correct? Is he achievable? Or when is achievable? We don't know that some people are there, they are not achieving a good salary, and they are paying the transfer with their salary, and they are feeding the family. Maybe Alani is not married. When he's married with the children,
I'm not speaking of Alamin. I'm not talking about Alamin. I'm talking about Nigerians who had food in their fridges or the freezers that got spoiled. Some people who had businesses that couldn't run because of the NLC strike that shut down electricity as well.
Yeah, the electricity everywhere. They are planning to join us together. Please, everything, nobody enjoy what is going on in the country, and the union, all of them, they agree. This agreement that we already give the ultimatum to the government, federal government, and when they are not following the instruction, everything will go down. We are going to close everywhere, and let them come to dialogue. When they listen to us, things will be going to be easy for everybody. So we cannot continue listening to federal government. No refinery, nothing is going on in the country, and the salary, everything is going up, and they don't want to increase salary, they want to follow the instruction, everything we are telling them, they are doing their own as they like. We cannot continue like this. These countries cannot be like this.
All right, Commissioner. Thank you very much. Let's get another caller in. Hello, good morning.
Just briefly,
yes.
Point of order. This strike is not about civil servants. The part of I'm not a civil servant. You know me as a lawyer. Mm-hmm. The part of labor's demand is that federal government should mop up our funds and build a functional refinery. When a refinery is built, it will better the loss of everybody. We can have access to fuel at a cheaper rate. Cost of food items and other things will come down, and the economy will grow. We are talking of the sustainability of this country, not a tribal interest or the civil service interest. We are talking about, so the government apologies should not call to derail the interest of Nigerians because they are sympathetic to a sitting government. We are all
Clement Zion Prince, let's say we're fighting for the ordinary Nigerian, right? The ordinary Nigerian who is struggling to afford food and all of that is maybe has food in their fridge, or they survive by running a small business that relies on electricity, and electricity goes off for days. How would they survive? These are people who eat by the day, who survive by going out every day to fend for themselves.
President Acho, let me tell you, it is simplistic to assume that the artisans and the Nigerians have food stocked in their fridges, and that they like what is going on, or they want it to continue. Don't forget that they are not even able to pay light bill. My last bill was 30,000 naira. I am able to pay. It's a hairdresser in a small shop able to pay it, and after paying it, he has to also go and pay. She has to also go and pay for the house that she's renting. What people are going through is beyond what we are expressing on radio. Nobody is comfortable. The other man is not. I tell you, what the government will hear is that there's a shutdown so that they can redress our problems. There's money to build a refinery. People have it. Three politicians in this country can fund a whole state. Just 3 politicians. And some are even Richard and Dangote. They don't declare the assets. So all these funds, any courageous government should mop up these funds and then build a functional refinery for Nigerians. Fuel is the genesis of everything in this country. Every economic life of Nigeria revolves around fuel. So when government plays anti-party and begin to share the money to themselves, all the money they borrow and share, they can use it to build a refinery. Why has it not been done over the years?
All right, Clementine, please.
Thank you. That's the problem.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your submission. And let's talk more. Let's bring some more callers in. I'm feeling the pulses of Nigerians, and maybe government would hear. Hello, good morning. Good morning, Olajide. Good to have you.
Olajide from
I hope you are hearing me.
Loud and clear.
The problem average Nigeria have is patience. I will start from where the last caller dropped. Everybody is clamoring for building refinery. Please, if Tinubu government say we want to build refinery today, how many years will it take? Can we endure? Okay, look at Dangote refinery for concurrent day and night 24/7 with well-funded money. It has not been completed for good 7 years. Please, our problem is that we don't have patience. And I'll keep saying it. This same NLC, are they not part of governance? Every contract is taken to ministry, agencies, and parastatals. Are they not part of it? Every policy of government is being drafted from ministry and agencies. What are we talking about? I keep saying this. The day NLC stand well, the day Nigeria will stand well. This government are promising us that refinery will work in December. And I keep asking on this platform, do NLC have committee monitoring that program to see that whether it's going on or not? So we briefing Nigeria every day that, they said this refinery is going to work. We get here today. We didn't see anybody working. Last month we were there. Do they do that? Will they have apparatus of monitoring government programs, government policies, until the last day they will say they are going on strike? Look at the last 2 days they did. There was no electricity. Electricity residents, we are shouting, we are crying. And some people are still backing them to embark on such. They should go to government. Let them sit one-on-one. Let them government open to them their handbook. Let them to bring their own solution. Going strike will never help us. God bless Nigeria. God bless Igwefe.
Thank you very much. Olajide says going on strike would not help us. That's his submission. Let's bring in another caller. Hello, good morning.
My prince, I'm back.
Paul, good to have you back.
Yeah, you see, my prince, one thing we need to understand. I was even surprised with one of your callers that said it's member of the worker. We need to understand what unionism is all about. If you look at the unionism, it's for the progress of every worker, and it's to promote industrial harmony between the government and the workers. Union is not coming from sky. Union is from within a sector, within workers, within workforce. So whatever demands the workers are given is within the same working conditions. So that's the thing we're supposed to understand. Like, as for me, I believe in my union because I've seen what they have been able to do in the aviation sector. At least they have pushed, and then the management of the aviation sector, they've understood. And we always have a meeting ground. That's why most of these few days, these few months, you have not had anything from us because the government, the management, especially from my own union, the managing director understands the needs of the workers. Why the workers have to be people that are partners in progress. They sit down to talk. All government do is to wait to the last minute. Since the beginning of all these warnings, government did not call workers to sit down. Let's continue to dialogue and see how we come up with amicable solution. They wait until they are issued with ultimatum before they start calling for meetings. Unionism is not about fighting government. Unionism is about coming to an agreement. Forgetting my ID card. Unionism is about coming to agreement to agree on certain things.
Paul, let me ask you, Paul, as a unionist, do you think that your unions, the NLC or the unions in Nigeria, would be able to sustain the strike action, what they term indefinite, if the federal government adopts the no work, no pay policy?
You see, my prince, it's not every strike that achieve results, but a message will be sent to the government that these things can be done. You see, the problem we keep on having is that when government begin to see the unions as antagonists, they see them as people who antagonize them. Meanwhile, it's the same union, the same members of unions that are their own drivers. the policy drivers. So when you see them as people, partners in progress, you will never see them as antagonists.
Well
You
said, Paul.
understand? So you see now, my prince, until we meet at the point we cannot progress. So
Okay.
the government needs to continue to dialogue. Union is not every strike that achieve result, or it's not every need that union will put out there for strike. Until there is a continuous dialogue. Unionism is not about Nigeria. Unionism is worldwide. So let's see it like that. When unions come up with issues, government will go and sponsor some selfish individuals to go and slot in another union just to discredit the other thing. It's not done.
Thank you very much, Paul.
Are making workers to be angry.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Paul. Well said. Look, very important aspects. I was going to mention this in my wrapping up. Government should not see unions as enemies. And the unions should not see the government as their enemies as well. Look what's going on in the U.S. So the government, during the Barack Obama administration, when automobile companies were having issues, the government stepped in. The Obama administration stepped in, supported the union, the automobile companies, and the unions as well contributed and saw that the companies began to do better. Now that the automobile companies are doing better, the unions are demanding better working conditions and better pay. The Biden administration is also saying, look, we are supporting the unions because these companies are doing well now. They should be able to, to earn better. If the companies are doing well, then they should pay their workers more. All right. Just yesterday, Wale Adebayo was in Nigeria. He's the Deputy Secretary of Treasury in the United States, and he was talking about it and saying, "Look, the Biden administration is supportive of the unions. So government and unions should not always be at loggerheads. They should have conversations, meet them halfway, because at the end of the day, we're all Nigerians. We all want what's best for the Nigerian state. The government does not know better for the ordinary Nigerian. Right? The government is representative of the Nigerian. So if Nigerians are saying this is what they want, I mean, it's like employing somebody and the person tells you that, even if they're professionals, that they know better what you want. They know what you want better than you do. At the end of the day, it doesn't sit well with whoever is the employer. So let's understand that unions and government are not necessarily rivals, or that they should disagree at every point. Government should look at the merits of what the unions are saying. The unions should also consider the position of government. Does government have money to do this? It is not always about antagonism, okay? Would the government be able to meet these so and so demands? And what time frame would be reasonable enough for us to give the government to be able to meet these demands? The good book says, come, let's reason together. The unions and the federal government should reason together. Reason in the best interest of Nigerians, not in anyone's selfish interest, not in the interest of government, but in the interest of Nigeria and Nigerians. That would be the most logical thing to do at this time. And no one should feel superior to the other, because it seems like all the time you have federal government side, especially, the Ministry of Labor and Employment, feeling superior to the unions and saying if they won't listen, if they won't take what we're giving, what we're offering, then they should go to blazes. That's not the way to handle it. Have a conversation with them as Nigerians. Help them understand the position of government. Be honest in these conversations. That's going to do us a lot of good. I'll close now with this message from Clement from Suleja. Says, good morning, my prince. Please, which patients is Olajide talking about? Please, I want to know. Thank you very much, everyone who's been a part of the conversation. I'm really sorry. I see the phone lines going off, but I can't take any more calls. We'd have to wrap it up now. But Nigerians, let's all work in the interest of Nigeria, whether you're governor, governed, or government. Please work in the interest of Nigerians. Do not work for your own selfish interest. I mean, how much of these monies are you going to steal?